Welcome everyone. How you guys doing tonight?
Hello.
Hey, what's up, brother? One
Hey, Kyle.
hell of a game, huh?
Yeah, I mean, nothing really exciting about it, for sure. But look, it's there's a lot to discuss. There's a lot to discuss. I think it's the right way of saying it for sure at this point,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
you know, look, there's a lot we could discuss, and I think I think some of the statistics don't lie.
Yeah.
And I've had some of my frustrations definitely came out in these all three preseason games. By the
Yeah.
way, have been a bit of a disappointment for every fan. And I talk to a lot of fans. A lot of my buddies just give me all kinds of garbage and texts. Man, your team is horrible. What's going on here?
Yeah. Right.
But we have to remember, guys, this is preseason, and that's what it is, right? So we're here to, just get through it and be ready for week one, right? And I think that's the big question. So we need to get into that conversation for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like in this episode, I think we're going to talk a lot about what we can expect from these players moving forward in the season. We'll probably have to discuss a little bit who we think is going to make the 53 team. And of course, we're going to just talk a little bit about how players performed in this game. And I mean, we got a whole lot of different things to talk about. I mean, this preseason was obviously a hot mess, to say the least, I would say. But I think in a good way. And we'll get a little bit more into that. But do got a surprise for the rest of you guys. We do have a special guest with us tonight. And he's just hanging out backstage right now, and he is getting ready. And it's been a really good time just chatting with him for a little bit beforehand. But so let's just jump right into it. And before we do that, just a couple more announcements. Hey, guess what? Just another big thing is going on still. We have our fantasy football league. We're going to be live streaming with that one tomorrow with Chargers Chat. And that'll be a big event. So it's going to be the draft is going to be about 7:45 Pacific time tomorrow, Saturday, August 27th. And I think maybe we should say our draft order is 9th, and it's like 8th, 9th. We're basically in the middle of the road. I'm not 100% sure if that's a good thing or if it's a bad thing, because we got it's a 16 Madden league. We'll see what happens. I mean,
it's going to be interesting. I think bottom line injuries are going to be a big part of it, right? I think we need to get. I mean, not giving too much away, but I'm a big believer in getting players that do not have a history of injuries at all and can stay healthy, right? So, not giving too much away. I mean, we got a strategy here. We don't just jump into this with like no ideas of what's going on, right? So.
Yeah, the strategy is everyone's going for the kickers, kickers first. Yeah.
Kickers first, baby. Kickers first. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, but then I guess I was going to mention this though too. So for all of our viewers too, if you guys wanted to help us out a little bit, go ahead and feel free to give us some tips on this one, because apparently it's a Yahoo league, but that one typically defaults to half PPR leagues. But this time they made it standard scoring settings. So there is no PPR, no half PPR, anything like that. So it's all just regular, but there are bonuses. And so I was like, okay, so we gotta actually discuss that one. Maybe we'll do a little video beforehand or something like that and talk about that a little bit more.
Agreed.
Or you and I will just talk back and forth, because it's just you and me. James is MIA. So
yes, he is. He's still in Greece, guys. So
he's still in Greece,
there's still, he's going to be shooting some content to us, but he's having a great time out there. And guys, this has been like a lifelong dream for him and his wife to have some fun out there in Greece. And so I wish him the best. He's shooting us messages, showing us these beaches. And I'm like, man, I'm so peanut butter and jealous. It's so frustrating to me to see that stuff. I'm like, man, I got to get out to Greece. Europe is amazing, by the way, guys. Europe is awesome.
Yeah, really.
So,
well, I still haven't been to Europe at all either, though. So
you got to
I
make
feel
it
like
happen.
I got to make that happen for sure. So well, hey, maybe if they got another London game out there, or whatever, we just got to make it happen. Look at the Bolt Bros out there.
Bro, I'll tell you what, London is a fun city, man. That actually, I'll tell you what, Kyle, if that happens, we are going for sure.
Oh yeah, you know what? Sure. And you know what? We're gonna go visit our friends in London that we met on that cruise one time, and we're gonna show up in togas too.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, the Toga Bros, the Toga Bros,
the Toga Bros. Got to bring that back. Yeah. Actually, no, dude. We could totally combine our everything like that. We got the Toga Bros and the Chargers. Like you said, we're gonna show up to the games as Zeus.
Yep. I love it. I love it.
Anyways, hey, well, that's enough of the intro, though. Let's get into the game, and let's talk more about football and stuff like that. Yeah. So, without further ado, a boo,
further ado.
Whatever. Let's get into it, Bolt Bros.
Right. Bolt Bros. Let's do it.
All right. So look who joined us, actually, ladies and gentlemen. We got Bolt Dad.
Bolt Dad, what's up?
Hi, how you doing?
Man, we're having a good time over here. How about you? How's things up there for you?
Oh, good, man. I'm not gonna lie though, I'm getting a little jealous about the fantasy talk, man. I wish I had gotten in on that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, you know what? It was actually really a shocker to me. The Charger chat just hit me up, and they just said that they were setting up this whole league, and I was like, hey, why not? It's kind of weird. Truth is, maybe I kind of put this out into the universe. If you believe in such a thing, because I was literally talking to my brothers about that. I was like, dude, we should set up a fantasy league, and like it's gonna have all. I even went to so far as to setting it up on NFL.com or whatever, and I made a little thing. I didn't do much with it or send out any invites or whatever, but I'm like, yeah, like maybe next year or something like that we can focus on that, because right now we're just still trying to grow.
That's awesome, dude. It's like the most epic fantasy. I gotta definitely follow up with you guys and see how you do throughout the season.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
we're gonna dominate. We're gonna dominate. You got to put money on us. They got to put money on us for sure.
That's right.
I mean, put a rack on it. Put a rack on it. We're gonna take it.
What's the general rule on actually selecting Charger players? Because literally everybody is going to want Herbert and Eckler.
I mean, I would not be surprised if actually like all the Chargers offensive players are gone before our first round pick. Like, I would really laugh. Like, Justin Herbert gone, Austin Eckler gone, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams gone, maybe freaking tight end.
Whoever's drafting number 1 overall is taking Herbert. You can just count him off, him or Eckler.
him or Eckler for sure.
Definitely, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah. No, it'll be pretty funny actually to see what happens. Like, no, it's been pretty good. Like there's a lot of banter already back and forth, and it's just been really fun seeing that. Let me see if I can pull up I can check this out here. I'm gonna pull it up. There you go. Little special preview right there.
Yeah, I like that.
That's awesome. A post that Chargers chat put together, and it's pretty good. So we're gonna share this. We're just really excited about this, guys. I mean, it's obviously it's not a betting league at all, but the fans are more than welcome to bet on us, and I guarantee they're going to win.
Yeah, we've been doing fantasy leagues like, man, I don't know how long, Kyle. How long have we been doing our fantasy league for?
I mean, well, that one. I mean, I've been in and out of fantasy like ever since probably 2007. I would say.
Yeah.
And I think James has been on there for quite a bit as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how long you've been doing it. I mean, yeah. So like, I maybe was it 2007? Yeah. No, when as long as I lived with James when I was down, he was down here in LA as well.
Yeah.
We were always doing it. So it's been great. So.
Yeah. Well, I remember this one year. And then we could get into the game for sure because there's plenty to talk about on that game. And then we'll move on from this topic. But I will say this. I remember one year I was in 4 leagues. I won 3 of them and got second place on one. I mean, and then I was like, I'm done. It was like a mic drop. Drop the mic. I'm walking away.
Wow, hopefully you were betting on yourself for that.
Yeah. And there was money in each one of them. I mean, and so I walked away with like 100. I mean, it wasn't a lot of money. It was,
right.
A few bucks, but chump change, no big deal. But anyways, it was pretty fun. I was like, all right. Actually, I don't know if I can win that again, but yeah.
Actually, Bolt Dad, number one, because you're joining us on the podcast, if you'd like, you can definitely be one of our consultants for our team. In fact, if you want to be with us,
AKA the scapegoat when
No,
man,
it's all good.
My dad told us to. I swear.
Why the hell you tell us to get this guy? He got hurt week 1. Not cool, dude.
It was like, oh man, you want us to get Deshaun Watson? Are you serious?
Yeah,
bro,
horrible. That is so funny.
Well, I'm saying because tomorrow, James is out of commission. So you know what? If you want to join us to be part of our draft central, we're the Bolt Bros. You're the Bolt Dad. We're a Bolt fam now, bruh. So
I love it, man. I appreciate the invite. We'll see the logistics if we can figure it out. But
okay,
at the very least, I'd like to hear your the consulting on the back end side of it. I'd like to know what your thought process is for sure.
Yeah,
I like it.
All right, sounds good. But you know what? But also on a side note, we do have actually a special league with just some of our friends, and maybe we may have some other slots opening up. So you may be invited to join us on that one too.
I will take any and all invites. You got it.
Yeah, but we put a lot of money on that. It's a rack of teams. So just so you know, it's a $1,000 minimum, right? So just saying, we go big or go home.
Yeah. I need every penny to put towards my little preschoolers and toddlers. So
I'm totally joking.
Yeah, unless I think I'm going to win it, then I might be. I don't know.
It's
more like a rack of pesos. If
rack of pesos.
That's right.
So. Yeah. No, we always like to joke with people. Yeah, we want to have a good time.
Yeah. So, but that's it. So, it's good times, man, for sure. So, let's talk about the game first and foremost. Yeah. So, the first half. Oh my God, guys. I actually tweeted about this right away. I was like, okay, so the Saints decided to play, their starters the first opening drive, and then we didn't play any starters the entire time. So I believe that the Saints actually turned on rookie mode for the Madden game. Because they're trying to play against college players as opposed to an actual LFL team. Are they actually getting good reps out of that type of gameplay? Our team we were getting good reps because it was our secondary versus their first. But look what happened.
Yeah.
I think that's actually a really interesting point when it comes to I think reps. It's really interesting. Have you guys been watching Hard Knocks at all? By the way,
for the Lions, no, I haven't really been following.
Yeah, I haven't either. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's just a throwaway line when they're basically talking about why they're playing so rough, tackling to the ground during practice, and they're basically the logic was that there's study behind actually taking physical hits and really getting tackled is supposed to help you build up for the season, to be prepared to be able to take the real hits during the season. So I think even though the Saints might not be actually, playing against a top tier defense when their offense is going up against us, I think in this case they probably prioritize getting hit, taking hits and kind of going through those motions. So that's maybe my thought process as to why they might have decided to do that. Definitely not Brandon Staley's strategy. And I'm kind of thankful of that, considering how Fehoko kind of went down towards the end there. So,
that's and it's interesting. I've been looking to see what kind of injury he's suffered there, but not a whole lot on there so far. But you bring up a really good point, Dad. I have criticized our coaching staff for just consistently playing, backup players this entire preseason. And I'm worried, right? I'm worried that week 1, we're not going to be ready, right? What's that saying that Mike Tyson always says? Everyone has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And don't get me wrong. Like, we all know Justin Herbert could come back and do it, right? A lot of people think he's the guy that could keep coming back and do it. But look, he has not been taking any live reps, right, with anybody. Yeah. And so, man, we didn't do much in preseason, and we're just, I don't know. Are we going to be ready week 1? I really hope so. Obviously, just like you illustrated, the whole point is let's make sure everyone's as healthy as possible. I think we're fairly healthy going into this first game. But man, are we going to be ready? That's my concern. That's really my concern.
I will. I guess my counter when I think in terms of Brandon Staley and his logic, I think he's really putting a lot of weight into that Cowboys practice.
Yep.
And
yes, absolutely.
I think he's really kind of counting that to be what really will get them prepared.
Yeah. And that's a really good point, because they did say that a lot, that this the skirmishes that they had at practice was essentially the first team's reps, because obviously it's less prone to injury at that point because no one's playing really at full speed. They're not tackling each other. The quarterback, of course, is redshirted, and so there's just a lot of that kind of stuff going on to allow them to actually play but not have risk of injury and stuff like that too. And I think the other good time about this is that one of our fans would say is that it doesn't give anyone tape about how our team is going to play, and like right. our starters and stuff. So like they're gonna, the element of surprise is all there for week 1, which I think that's actually a really good strategy.
Yeah.
Because obviously we have 2 divisional games right away, back to back.
Yes.
Yeah, that's actually, I love the Brandon Staley isms, his wordings, how the certain way he says things. I think it's carrying on not just in between Charger fans, but I think like the NFL and kind of how they say things, But anyway, one of the things, I don't know if this is a specific to him, but he loves using the word premium. And so during the Cowboys scrimmage, he was really saying, one of the reasons why I really benefit from this Cowboys scrimmage, and I think highly of it compared to, let's say, preseason, is we're dealing with the Cowboys offensive, defensive premium packages, right? As opposed to, the basic vanilla stuff that you're going to be getting during the preseason games. So, he's clearly prioritizing the mental growth and aspect of it. But I mean, there is definitely something to the physicality and, and keeping from getting injured. We got our star players. So, I know. I guess if me personally, if I were the coach, I'd probably err towards the side of caution. I would love to have Herbert as a fan. At least be in there for a drive or two, be like, show you guys how good we are. But he's definitely holding his he's definitely kind of keeping everything secret, I think, for the big game against the Raiders for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I really think that that's a really good point, Bull Debbie, because I really do think that he's leaving a lot. Well, actually, Kyle, you made this point as well too. He's keeping the element of surprise there, right? And again, we've talked about this on a couple of other of our episodes that Herbert is going to audible more this year, right? I truly believe there was maybe 70% of the playbook that was open last year. I think they kept it very simple for him with the new offense. Second year under this offense, he will probably do more audibling at the line. I think he'll probably switch things up a lot more. And secondarily, I think we're going to see a lot of really interesting exotic blitzes coming from Kyle Van Noy. I mean, Kyle Van Noy, we still don't even know how he's going to be used. There was one of the articles, I remember an interview I saw with him where he specifically said, they're like, oh, well, how are they going to use you? And he goes, oh, I can't really talk about that. And I remember thinking like, okay. And he goes, well, I want to rush the quarterback. Well, here's the thing. He's not really set up to do that. He's really going to be our, middle linebacker. Middle linebacker doesn't typically rush the quarterback a whole lot, but that's really what he wants to start doing. So I'm very curious to see some of these exotic blitzes we could start seeing and very interesting plays. So I'm excited to see that. I know they're keeping it very vanilla, just to your point. So I mean, it's an exciting thing to think about. So I'm really hoping week 1 will be amazing. for sure.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I am really a little worried that they are going to be a little playing a little flat, like coming out of the gate for week
Yep.
one, just because like you look at like even the playoffs, like let's talk about playoffs. You want to talk about playoffs?
Playoffs?
Yeah, it's because think about this. It's like look at the playoffs when the teams that kind of start to kind of okay, they secured their spot, their seed in the playoffs or whatever, and they have like 2 weeks or so before the start of the season or playoff, the postseason, I should say, and they get into their first game, and they just all are kind of flat. Like they're kind of rusty or whatever. Maybe they're not working as hard. So I'm a little worried about that because we've seen that happen. It happens to the Titans. They didn't play for like 2 weeks essentially, and then they got just destroyed by the Bengals. So, and the Bengals are just hot at the same time, So like, and honestly, there's a lot of truth to like honestly when you're working out and stuff that like the only way to actually work through pain is more pain, I guess. Like I mean, when you're sore. You got if you work out again, you're not going to be as sore. So
Right.
it's just like
that's why us Charger fans are so tough, man. We've endured pain over the years, and we're ready, man. We're tough. We're ready.
Yeah, we ready. We ready for this.
We've endured enough.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I 100% agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I'm worried about it a little bit. Just because we know how it is. We know how important these first 2 games are. But hey, you know what? It's not our decision to make at all. And but all we can do is actually believe because in Staley we trust.
Yep.
If there was a church that he was leading, I would go to that church, and I would bring a stack of cash every single week, and I would just keep putting in those dollars, man. You just shut up and take my money, man. Like.
The donation tray comes around
to his church.
Yes, I buy season tickets to that church, man. That's right. Especially if they have the cheerleaders there. Come on now, we need those cheerleaders back.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I am kind of curious to see with this strategy how it's going to pan out this first game, especially. Then obviously roll right into Thursday night. NFL season is going to hit us quick. But I will say this though, it's something to think about within a game, right? One of the things that at the beginning of every game is they have essentially scripted plays for for the offense. And so I imagine that, things like that they're going to do, they're really going to emphasize to try to help, be prepared to kind of get off on the right foot for the offense. I would say if there's anybody that I'd be worried about maybe not gelling, meshing, or having a little bit of time catching up speed might be the defense. And the reason why I say that, I always like to knock on wood here, just in case I don't want to jinx anything, but you think about players that maybe haven't played even all that much or practiced that much during this offseason would be somebody like Derwin James. Not that he doesn't have the mental, physical capacity to be lights out during the first game of the season, but let's be honest, he hasn't played much. So it would have been nice to kind of see him. So how are they going to mesh? I don't know for the first game, but I'm an overall optimist. So I imagine he's going to go out and kick some butt. But there is a little bit of that hesitation, I think, for sure.
Yeah, and I'll add one little caveat, one little wrinkle to this as well too. One thing that Brandon Staley has consistently said is he is going to play the players in the preseason that need to play, and I truly believe that's what he like. I think what he definitely believes is that everybody that has played needs to show people that they can play in the league. Period. Right. And we're talking rookies all the way down to, backups from, years ago. So again, I understand the concept of, we don't need the starters to play, but boy, it just worries me, man. Week one, we got to get that W, man. We need some payback on the Raiders, donkey punch them hoes, dude, for sure. You know what I mean?
I will say too, though, to our advantage, if you really think about, what we had to go through last season with all new coaching change and everything. they're going to go through the same thing, just with the Broncos
Agreed.
as well, right? So I think they are going to be super optimistic going into this, thinking they're going to be lights out on offense and defense. But I got serious question marks with the Raiders defense. It's there's a lot of movement, a lot of changes, not just on the player side, but you scheme everything. So I don't know. I think in a lot of those ways it gets me more excited because we have a lot to prove, and especially coming off of how that last game ended. I think we are ready to donkey punch somebody, and the Raiders are about to get the front of it. So,
yeah. Well, and go for it, Kyle.
Yeah, sure. And I was gonna say too is like when I was on my cruise, actually, I met a whole bunch of other like fans of other teams there. There's some Packers fans, there were some Colts fans and stuff like that there. And of course, we did talk about it. Like as they saw me wearing Chargers gear,
you gotta hold your pinky like this when you say, "Oh, when I was on my cruise."
Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly.
Sorry to run that in.
Yeah.
Just throw it up there. Just cruising around. Well. The interesting conversation came from when I was talking to the Packers fan though, because he outright said, shots fired. He just said the Raiders are a better team than the Chargers. And really? I was like, what? Okay, explain yourself, sir. Like, how dare you? Yeah. But basically it came down to him was Davante Adams. That was his only argument. And I was like, yeah, okay, that's just one element to the whole team. One piece of the puzzle. Okay, great. Yep. Derek Carr has somebody he can throw to finally officially, after playing for the team for 9+ years or something, but they don't have an O-line. Their defense wasn't really improved at all. Yep. And like nothing else is there besides, Derek Carr. They spent a whole trash load of money on him. And, Davante Adams, of course, yeah, they have a history of connecting with each other. And I see where his point was coming from, though, because he was like, oh, yeah, well, he's had Davante Adams on the Packers for years, and he got to watch him play so much. And that's very understandable that he thinks he's a great player, and he really is. But Derek Carr is not Aaron Rodgers, period. And he never will be, So it's been it was yeah, it was a really interesting. It was a really interesting. I like that. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. With his guy liner over here. Shoot.
Guy liner.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just an interesting like conversation to have because he was so adamant that that they were better, and obviously it's weird hearing it from somebody outside of the AFC. Or the AFC West in general, because it was a little offensive, I should say.
Well, I would say this too. He probably cares more. He's probably also giving Josh McDaniels a little bit of hype, right? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he's a better coach, a better offensive coach. So he's assuming you're going to see a Bill Belichick type offense, which sure you probably will, right? But good question: is Derek Carr going to be able to run a Bill Belichick type of offense, right? I think he's an okay quarterback, but I think everyone has him ranked around 15th in the league, right? And that makes sense, right? And bottom line, coming from a Packers fan and obviously liking Davante Adams, he obviously is like, oh, Davante Adams is amazing. But you know what? Aaron Rodgers is a way better quarterback than Derek Carr. 100%. And, I'm sorry, his numbers are not going to be that great this year just because he's not the same quarterback, anyways, that's kind of my thought on that. So,
I guess if I were going to kind of chime in a little bit too, I don't want to discredit or discount their ability to put up points. I think they are going to be able to put up. Raiders going to be able to put up a lot of points.
Oh yeah, 1,000%.
As a whole throughout the season, not against us, but as a whole. But that being said, like kind of reiterate my point is there's a lot of moving pieces, and my big question is on their defense. Davante Adams, yeah, sure. Let's just say this: it's been talked ad nauseum on the national stage about the AFC West, how we are now the best division in the entire league. and people are saying in history. It's a little bit out
Yep.
of control, but I'll take it as long as the Chargers are on top. But the thing is then once on a national scape, so it's outside looking in, people they say, okay, well that must mean they're all pretty equal as teams, and then they pick out of those teams. If you're not a huge fan, you're not going to know all the players. So you're like, okay, well, key players here, plug and play. They're going to work great. Well, okay, Devontae Adams, yes, best wide receiver in the league. But Keenan Allen isn't that far behind him. So
Yep.
It might have helped them for sure, but I am not a fan of their head coach. What he did in Denver,
oh my God,
drafting Tim Tebow, I mean, I'm just hoping he does something equivalent to the Raiders.
Yeah,
big meltdown.
Oh yeah,
and it'll be really interesting to see how he does, right? And again, Mr. Jorge Rodriguez, I agree. He's a question mark, right? He is not a proven. Look at the entire Belichick lineage, right? They've not done well outside of his system as a coach, and so, well, he's got to prove himself. And to your point, Bolt, Dad, as well. Look, we went through growing pains year one with Brandon Staley. I think obviously Denver's going to go through growing pains, and I think also the Raiders will go through some growing pains as well too. They don't have their exact team around them to execute exactly what they need to do. So that'll be really interesting to see. So, yeah. Anyhow, very interesting. So, should we go through the statistics of the game today, and we just discuss the game, and then maybe start having some general prediction discussions around 53-man roster, because I think that's a big part of what we want to do. Yes.
Yeah. I think we got a good question here, and shout out to the Twitter fellow Klus and Klein. Yeah, it's good to see you here, man. Yeah.
How we doing?
We're doing good, man. We're just talking about the football game and just having a good time tonight. Yeah. And it looks like we got our first question actually in here, and it kind of just segues us into that whole thing too. So, Sweet Jumps, what's up, bro? He says, did Joshua Kelly win running back too? And statistically, I think he did.
Answer is yes. Yep.
Yeah. He is beef. He's bulked up. He's making a difference. Has he had huge breakout runs? Austin Eckler, thinking back on his his fourth preseason game, which, by the way, I was at in San Francisco.
You were awesome.
Yeah. I was like, who is this guy? He didn't have that. He hasn't had that like huge breakout moment, but there is something notably different about him. I think.
Oh yeah.
He's huge. So they've said he's gained 10 pounds in muscle mass.
Yeah.
And I think that makes a huge difference in something like for a running back. So, and I he seems more decisive, and hopefully he's going to be healthy enough to be able to last throughout the season. So, I think he might have personally.
Yeah. I mean, because he definitely took a page out of Austin Eckler's book, and just like he hit the gym hard in this offseason. And he talked about it a lot, that he cut Raising Cane's out of his diet entirely.
That's right.
Yeah. And I think he even said he stopped eating like candy and stuff like that. So he just like
candy.
So he cut down, he leaned out, and bulked up. So he's definitely trying to shoot for that Austin Eckler style of play, and it seems like he may have gotten it. Like, I mean, he had a couple receptions in this game too. So, because like that's really what kind of running backs this league needs now. They don't need running backs; they need receiver backs.
Well, and that's Austin Eckler though too, right? That's his game for sure.
Well, I'll say going into this preseason, I was really excited for Spiller, and it's unfortunately with his injury, and I'm not sure where he's at on that. But Spiller might have a chance into the season depending on how things work out. But I think he definitely made a name for himself this preseason.
Yeah, one thing I'll add on the whole running back 2 conversation too, right? Again, we're splitting hairs to some degree. Spiller probably was going to be running back 3 anyways, just because he's a rookie, and I think Kelly has looked very well. I mean, look at the statistics specifically. Josh Kelly, 6 carries, 40 yards, 6.7 yards average. guys, that's about as good as you can ever expect from anybody, right?
Yeah.
So my view is Kelly's definitely got quarterback or running back 2 spot for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think running back week 1, week 2, it's going to be Austin Eckler, Kelly, and maybe a little Roundtree here and there, maybe some Xander Horvath. I think he's probably going to be our guy. But, again, it's going to be Austin Eckler's game, right? He's going to want some payback, and we're gonna run that truck as hard as we possibly can. Week 1 and 2. So, interesting statistics. So I was maybe talk about the quarterbacks, and we can kind of go down through.
Yeah.
Actually, do you have the statistics in front of you, Kyle? You want to share those as well, so everyone can see them?
I can pull it up. Okay, so you're looking at the final individual stats.
Yeah. Let's go through that for the game, and then we can maybe go through 53 week per day. Oh wow, boy, you guys got amazing vision. Oh my god, I can't see that.
Let me zoom it in.
Let me get my binoculars on.
Hey, let me.
Holy smokes! You make that a little bigger. There we go. Yeah, can you make that a little bigger, buddy? There we go.
That's what she said.
Wow, nice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah. So Chase Daniel, he did well. I was there we go. Perfect. Chase Daniel, pretty good. I was impressed. 10 for 11, 113 yards. I mean, look, that's good.
Yeah.
But it's funny. He's kind of up and down. He missed a lot of passes the first 2 games. I wasn't very impressed. I thought Stick looked better. But then Stick didn't look good today, and I mean, I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on that? I mean, is it just the personnel around him, or is it just in general? I don't know. It's kind of perplexing to me.
Well, I thought Chase Daniels. I thought I was actually kind of impressed with him moving up into the pocket. He actually had a little bit of a scramble today, which is something I don't really see him do. He seemed more decisive than usual. I think the thing about him is he always felt like he was going to be QB2, but you always have this as a fan. You want Stick to do so well, and because he has all the physical tools to light it up, but for whatever reason, it's like he gets he gets flustered or something.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it doesn't help the pass protection for him. But yeah, Stick had an opportunity for the second preseason game to really take that QB2 spot, and it didn't come to fruition. And I think Daniel was just like, you know what, this is my opportunity to keep my QB2 position. I think he won it.
I agree with that. Kind of makes me sad because I would like to see Stick have a shot, but I think you're right. I think it's Daniel's shot. What do you guys think down below? Right? What are your thoughts? And Kyle, what do you think? I mean, I'm curious what you think on that, because we talked about this ad nauseum too.
Yeah,
behind the scenes, you and I.
Oh yeah.
And Kyle.
Well, yeah. So truth is, I mean, I really do like Easton Stick a lot, and I feel like he has a lot of potential to, be a great quarterback and stuff like that too. But I don't think it was the personnel around him that actually made the difference, because he did start the second game, and he had the second stringers essentially with him at that point. So, and he didn't do very well in that game either, So,
right,
it very well could be like a lack of preparation for him, because during the week, he's not getting as much reps as like Chase Daniel was, or obviously even Justin Herbert for the game. So it's possible that there was just maybe a little lack of preparation. I obviously root for the guy a lot, but I definitely didn't see him getting that quarterback 2 position, because traditionally it seems like now quarterback 2 is kind of like another quarterback coach, just someone that kind of bounces ideas back and forth between the coach and the quarterback coach and the quarterback himself. So he kind of just helps him out, kind of gives him little things of what he's seeing as being another player as well, another voice for him to kind of consult. And so I kind of always suspected that Chase Daniel was going to be the quarterback 2. There really wasn't a question in my head that Easton Stick was going to get that role. I actually think that they're going to follow what they did the last year as well, put Easton Stick on reserve/practice squad.
Yeah. Do you guys think he should be taking a roster spot?
No, I don't.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question.
I don't. I think we could use other players like corners for sure. right? Especially with JT Jackson at week 1. I don't think he should take a roster spot.
Yeah,
We should have one other quarterback. Yep.
If you're, my take is if you're keeping a third QB, a lot of time is you want to keep him because you want to hope that maybe think he's clipboard Jesus trade bait during the future, and is Stick going to be that? I just maybe, it's a maybe, but I haven't seen significant enough improvement to see that in him. So my thought process is last year I was like, yeah, keep him because I think it's going to be great for us. Potentially trade him down the future or something like that.
Sure.
But I don't know if I really see that this time around. I think if we let him go, he could get back. I don't think people are going to pick him up. I think we'd get him back on the practice squad. But the thing is I like him though. I like him as a player. I like him as a person. But it's just that right now we need bodies. We need those roster spots for more important positions.
Yeah, I agree. Even on special teams, guys. Right? Again, Brandon Staley always talks about 3 phases of the game, and nobody wants to talk about special teams because it's not that exciting, and we'll get into that for sure too. But again, a big part of a lot of these players out here, right? Your Jasir Taylors, your JT Woods, these are guys that are probably going to get a job because of special teams, right? Being a gunner or doing some special teams plays, right? So, but it's frustrating. I'm gonna highlight one thought here though. This is the difference between Justin Herbert and other quarterbacks in the league, right? Make no mistake about it. I've seen people rank him as high as 3rd in the league, 5th. I mean, he's easily top 5. We all know that, right? So, again, these are not top 5 quarterbacks that are out there playing, and we haven't seen them play at all. So, try to not be too upset, but understand Brandon Staley just wants some of these young guys to play and prove themselves in the league, right? And again, we still got to decide who we're going to keep and who are we going to let go, right? So, what can they do? All right, go out there and do it, And
right.
And Brandon Staley said it best. He said, "Look, the whole league is watching. The whole league is watching."
Dude, that was a heck of a quote, man.
Isn't it?
I was like, dang.
Yes. Yeah. And he said it so straight faced. I loved it. I was like, he's like, bro, hey, if you look, if nothing else, it's a job interview for them, right? They're going to show the league that they can actually play. And if they don't show the league and their existing coaching staff that they can't play, great. Well, they're not going to have a spot.
Yeah, I'll say this. Coaches skirt around. They say stuff like that all the time during preseason pressers. That's not new. Yep. But the way he said it, it was so direct. He was just like, I'm over it. I'm done. I'm not playing around anymore. And it's like it's almost watching Staley in a way kind of grow up. I don't know if you guys saw there's some little teasers they're showing behind the scenes. They're basically showing Staley. He was like cursing, looking at a play. You're gonna put this blank on screen, like on tape, and just yelling at the players. I'm like, oh wow, like I don't know what it is about Staley. Maybe because he's so positive and so upbeat. Just to hear him be a badass to his players, it just gets the juices flowing, man. Like, dang, this guy means it, and he's coming after it. And I think, hearing that, it gets me really, really excited for this season where we're going to go. He's not messing around, and I think that's definitely going to carry on to these players.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, and again, so the whole point of the coaching staff is to get the most out of each one of these players, right? And guys, I'm looking at some of the chats here, right? Woods is a liability. Tom had a very weak draft. Look, understand this, right, guys? And again, I want to do some film breakdown of some players of how they played in college and how they play in the NFL. Guys, make no mistake about it. The NFL game is very different, 100% different.
Yeah.
Go back to week 1. Dean Leonard got burned constantly against the Rams, right? And don't get me wrong, he was in the right position, but in the wrong position at the same time. And that's the difference between a college player and an NFL player. Yes, he was there, but he was not in a position to make a play on the ball or really defend the ball correctly. A rookie has a hard time learning that. And Brandon Staley, I've listened to everything he said so many times over. I understand his thought process. What he wants to see is this person game ready right now.
Yeah.
again, it goes back into what we've been talking about long term. People that are game ready are not playing right now. Okay. The people that are not game ready are the people that are getting 3 games to go out and have a scrimmage. And that's really how Brandon Staley sees it, right? So he's fine with saying, okay, fine, this person's here, but he has his 53-man roster already in his head. So next, man, Tuesday's going to be interesting, guys. Tuesday's going to be real interesting. So I'm excited to see that. Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, the tackling, perfect example. When he tackled Dean Leonard, when Dean Leonard was trying to get his, I can't remember the Rams wide receiver. I'm drawing a blank on his name. And he had that ball. He was right there. And then JT Woods came in and tackled Dean Leonard. And then the guy ran into the touchdown. That was absolutely frustrating. Again, rookie mistakes, right? We say that all the time. Rookie mistakes, guys, right? But again, he's probably not going to play week 1. That's bottom line. Nas Adderley, Gilman, they're going to be playing week 1. So, JT Woods is going to be on the sideline learning.
Yeah, JT Woods has all the physical gifts in the world, and we want him to be that player right out the gate. But I didn't have that expectation as much as I wanted it to. But at the end of the day, you can't hurt your own players. No. You got to keep your head up. You can't just be looking down. So I think all of his collegiate career, he's been relying on his physical gifts and his tool set, and he's been really honed in on that and using his speed. But there's a huge mental aspect to it on the NFL side, especially with Brandon Staley's defense. There's a lot mentally that he has to process quickly.
Correct.
And some people just take a little longer to understand those things. So hopefully, in an ideal world, he won't have to play that many snaps for a while until he can kind of slowly be brought in on certain packages, and before you know it, maybe can be a starter. But I'm not stressed as long as he's not our starter, because if he's our starter, that means somebody went down with injuries, knock on wood. So hopefully, he doesn't have to take many snaps for a little while.
Yeah.
I mean, and HH4 just kind of mentioned this too. Is like, there's guys that were wide open against us today. Yeah, and there was definitely a number of plays where they ran right into our gaps and found a sweet spot where no one was around them for 5 yards easily. So that was an awful display of coverage. I don't know if it was just a bad play, defensive play there, or if just the guy just read it the perfect way and be like, oh, that's the gap, that's the ace in the hole. Let me just hit that hole. Oh,
hit that hole,
said, right?
Oh shoot! Look what I started. Shoot.
Yeah.
Well,
but Jasir Taylor looked pretty good. I think he looked all right. 4 tackles, 3 assists, right? He looked okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's tough, right? Again, Cole Christensen had some good stats, right? He had 6 tackles and 3 assists. 1 sack. 1 sack, guys. 1 sack, right? And again, it's their opportunity to shine, and it's unfortunate some of these guys just kind of didn't put it together. So that's kind of a bit of a bummer. One guy I do want to kind of talk about that everyone keeps talking to us about is Michael Bandy. So guys, what are we thinking week 1? What do you guys think in the chat as well too? Did Bandy solidify himself a spot wide receiver 6? Going back to your thoughts there, Bolt Dad. Do you think they might bring in Michael Bandy as a 6th wide receiver and dress him day 1? And what's your thoughts on that?
I hope so. I hope the real question is, are they going to keep 6 wide receiver positions?
Yeah.
AKA Stick, right? Stick's position, right? So if you're going to give up somebody, if Stick had to go, I would want Bandy to take that position.
Me too.
Spot. I think, honestly, when you see him, let's be honest, we all think Wes Welker, right?
100%.
We've already been burned on that. We don't want to be burned again. There's something about his ability to get open. Lombardi said it best. He said, essentially, he doesn't have particularly great speed. He doesn't have amazing measurables. He's not super tall, but he just has this knack to find open space and get open. And that screams Wes Welker. And and I when I see him, he's quick. He can move. I want him on the team 100%. It's just at what expense in the roster spot if you're going to carry 6 wide receivers. That's a lot to carry. So, but I'm on board with it. I think he did enough because guaranteed he's going to get picked up by another team.
Oh yeah.
God forbid it's the Patriots. Please don't let it be. So we got to keep him.
We have to. Geez. Yeah. I think he's secured a spot, and I'll tell you, I think what makes a big difference too is he did well in kickoff returns. He had one return for 25 yards, and he's valuable, right? And again, one thing I've always said about this staff too, and this is very true with the NFL in general, is you cannot be a one-trick pony, especially when you're trying to find a spot. That's how Austin Eckler actually made the squad, because he did well in special teams. So, Bandy has proven he can do it. And think about this for a second, guys. Even if he came out like, oh, who's this little guy right here? Oh, okay. He's different than Guyton. He's different than Keenan Allen. He's different than all of
different skill set. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
100% different. And, I in a weird way, I kind of think of him as Hunter Renfrow, a smaller version of Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow's got some really, wild little jukey moves. And Michael Bandy's good at that. And he consistently talked about how, man, I'm learning from the best. He said Mike Williams, Keenan Allen. So I would like to see him suited up and have 6 wide receivers. Personally.
The only thing I think might keep him from that spot, and this might surprise you a little bit, is quite frankly, the pass catching ability of our running backs. So, if you look at Austin Eckler, if he's most comparable to anybody, the routes I see him running, Austin Eckler can run. Just fine. And, so that's maybe my counter to that is if we didn't keep them, maybe they're thinking, okay, we see Eckler out of the backfield, but then he's also pass catcher like a wide receiver. So, that might be logic to not keep him, but I swear to God, I'm telling you, the Patriots better not end up with him. We need
no. I really think that we are going to keep him.
Yes.
I mean, it's really just such a no-brainer. I mean, like if he's having a good time connecting with Chase Daniels and Easton Stick, because he has each game he had about 5 targets and at least 4 receptions and stuff on that. Just imagine how much better he's going to be with Justin Herbert. And with this Joe Lombardi offense of him just throwing the ball around to everybody and anybody, it's gonna work magic. He's gonna be that X factor for us. Just to kind of have a little dump man, Wes Welker, just out there. And I really do think is and HH4 just kind of brought up a question there where he just says he doesn't know if he has a chemistry with Justin Herbert, and I think, and you're right though, I don't think I've seen in Twitter or anything where they talk about them connecting at practice or anything, or if there's been there. I mean, I'm pretty sure I did see him throw the ball to him a couple times on some one-on-ones and during the 7-on-7s, and he did connect, and so there is a chemistry growing for sure. But
I feel like Herbert mention something about
I think
him being very friendly to the quarterbacks.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's thrown to him, but I haven't seen much.
Right. So
I think bottom line, Bandy has proven that he definitely deserves to be on the roster for sure. I want to see him suited up. Will we see him suited up? Who knows? But I would say this, it probably does mean we're probably going to lose Joe Reed. I think he took the spot over Joe Reed for sure. Which is kind of sad because I really do like Joe Reed. I think Joe Reed's good, but I think Bandy or Reed. I'll take Bandy for sure.
I was on Joe Reed's corner for a long time, but I mean, for whatever reason, he's just not flashing. So,
well, I think it boils down to our conversation with Joshua Kelly. He came back ready to play. The funny thing about Josh Kelly too, I was watching, I can't remember which preseason. I think it was the Cowboys game. Direct. He just hit that hole. He's not even waiting, and he's moving. Much more authoritative than he ever has in the past. In the back, he was always kind of bouncing around in the backfield. He just wants to get north and south fast. So, Yeah, and you're right. Sweet, that's perfect. Bandy and Carter, I like both of those guys as well. And I think, and again, they have dual purposes for our team. Dual purposes, right? So that's what we need. You know, and it makes it easy decisions to have more people for special teams to be more successful. So
this isn't a great segue, but I just have to bring it up. I don't know if any of you have been thinking about this, but I was thinking in the back of my mind, who's the star really out of preseason that we're really going to see that's going to have an impact on the season. And I just want to kick it off from my standpoint. I've been so excited to see Rumpf. What he has done is just lights out. Like, is this the same player? Holy cow.
Yep. 100%. I think Rumpf is absolutely fantastic. Actually, he didn't even play today, did he? He wasn't out there.
Well, no, I mean, he earned his position. I mean, he beefed up.
Yep.
He's stronger. He's getting, you mentioned being decisive, you know, getting through just shedding blockers. It's just like, it's night and day difference. It's funny. Well, what did Bosa used to call him? He was a
string bean.
String bean.
Now he's what is he now?
An asparagus.
Asparagus stock. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Asparagus stock. Right. Yeah, I love that. Yeah,
oh, that's great.
No, that's a great point, right? And I think, look, again, this is the difference, right? He came back in better shape and ready to play. And a big part of this game, guys, is mental. Being mentally prepared, mentally ready, taking the offseason seriously, right? And another person we could talk about as well, too, that I think won a roster spot, another segue, Trey Pipkins. I think Pipkins is ready to take over that right tackle spot as well, too. They've all pretty much come out and said it, but I think he won the spot over, our boy Storm Norton for sure.
My thoughts on Trey Pipkins is something about Pipkins that always threw me off a little bit is he's never seemed like he was 100% into plays.
Yes.
He never seemed like he had that aggression that you really want. You know, that kick-ass attitude. You know, it's felt like he was just a big guy that has all the skill set in the world, but it's like the heart that drives you, that factor, it's like kind of missing. I always felt like, and so even though he won that position, I think through his technique improvement,
yes.
I don't know. I still haven't seen enough to get me. Oh, I'm excited. We have a serviceable right tackle. You know, I think did he win over Storm Norton to not be the swing tackle? Yes, I agree with that. I think it's the right choice, but I feel like we should have been a little bit more diligent, as much as we done in the offseason, a little bit more diligent trying to find at least somebody, a veteran, to kind of compete with them. So that's a little bit of a disappointment, I would say, but you're right. I do think from what players we have, I think he did earn that spot for sure.
Yeah, I was watching some tape, and I think we talked. Actually, I think Kyle and we talked about this in our pregame discussion. That it was almost the exact same amount of reps, and Storm gave up 1 sack, and Pipkins did not give up a single sack or even a rush.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be the difference of him starting and not starting. And I watched a lot of the film. The problem with Storm, in my opinion, he's really tall, and you get him moving one way, he does not recover the other way. He does not. And I watched the Raiders game over and over again. When he was getting fatigued at the end against Max Crosby would run out to the edge, and he would do 2 or 3 steps to the side, and then he would just come back in the middle, and it was completely open. So, he doesn't have the footwork, and I think Pipkins worked on that really well in the offseason. So, yeah, you're probably splitting hairs, but I do think Pipkins is probably a better choice moving forward. So,
yeah, I mean,
will be right tackle. Yeah, I agreed.
Right, exactly. But yeah, I think really the right tackle is the kind of biggest question mark of this offseason. It always has been. Like, you know,
for sure.
I think honestly, I think we've been beating that dead horse like a Cherokee drum, you know?
For sure.
I mean, straight up, man. It's just like right tackle, right tackle, right tackle, right tackle. Yeah.
I will say this though about that. It is true. We have been beating that Cherokee drum. That's funny.
We really have. We have.
That horse wasn't there anymore. So,
That's right.
yeah, I will say this. Just I like to add a little perspective anytime I feel like I'm getting down in dumps on something or something's being routinely brought up, and in this case, look at where our offensive line was as a whole just a few years ago.
Yeah, agreed.
Yes,
Right.
we did not address right tackle. Yes, that is incredibly important. But my goodness, have we made huge strides
Yep.
drafting and free agency? Like it's night and day difference. As a Charger fan to be able to say we only got one crappy offensive lineman.
Yeah.
That's and I wouldn't say crappy. That's not fair. But I would say it's barely
Subpar.
serviceable or subpar, whatever you want to say. Not elite, to be very kind. I'd say we made huge strides.
Well,
oh no, absolutely. I mean, yeah, we've actually absolutely just completed our team in this offseason, like for as much as possible, And I honestly do come to the defense of Storm Norton because for a lot of the times he was actually doing fairly okay. But the one game that he was not doing okay was the Week 18 game against the Raiders.
Yeah, 100%.
And that one could have potentially cost us the whole season because of his performance that night. Like
Crosby,
we always
great.
Yeah, and that's his thing. He was going against like one of the top 10 edge rushers in the league. Because Crosby's a really good edge rusher, and but that's just it. Like, he needed to step up and he needed to make things happen. And like we always talk about too, is like, why didn't they just switch out Pipkins in there too? First half, they saw that Norton wasn't doing so hot. So, all right, time to throw in it, switch it up and throw in Pipkins.
Yeah, I will play devil's advocate though and say that we, even with all of that, despite how things ended, we did have a top 5 offense and a 5,000 yard season. So it's not like it was trash. And Pipkins has improved. Everybody's been saying it over last year. So, glass is half full for sure. But yeah, it is a little bit of concern.
Yeah, well, I'll add one little wrinkle to this as well too. And I think a big consideration to who would be the right tackle starter is we got Zion Johnson, right? Yeah. And who works better with Zion Johnson on the right side? And remember some of the statistics that we had last season, right? You guys remember this. Left side, we averaged 6 yards per carry in the rush game. Right side, we averaged 3 yards per carry in the rush game. So clearly, and by the way, Zion Johnson is a freaking beast. I've been watching some of his.
Yeah, he's so big.
He moves bodies, dude.
Yeah, dude.
He moves bodies, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy is freaking gnarly.
Wasn't he the strongest in the draft?
He was.
I think it was like, I don't know if he was the strongest. I think he was maybe like top 3. Like he
was the strongest.
Really?
Who number 2 was? Jamari Salyer.
No kidding.
Salyer. Yep.
Really?
Jamari Salyer. Absolutely.
Dang.
Jamari Salyer.
I'm telling you, man. Brandon Staley wants thighs and buys.
And butt and gut.
No, not button gut. Not button gut. No, he wants thighs and buys, man. That's it.
That's what she said.
I'm telling you. But guys, I mean, it's a physical sport. I mean, you go back and watch, and again, I forgot to tell you guys this, but I really felt like Zion Johnson played better with Pipkins than he did with Storm Norton. And I think they want that cohesiveness together. Zion's going to move bodies, and that's the good news. And so you got to remember too, it's not just about manning your guy up. Max Crosby could do a stunt on the inside and go up against Zion, and then obviously Pipkins is going to have to take care of one of the defensive linemen. So it'd be really interesting to see how it plays out. But I really do think Pipkins and Zion are a better combination than Zion and Storm Norton. So, anyways, that's kind of one of my thoughts.
But yeah, I really like what Jorge Rodriguez says about this right now. Is that Johnson and Pipkins are by far an upgrade to Schofield and Norton, because that was a terrible situation over there. But despite just what you said, though, I fully agree with that, Bolt Dad, is that we still had a top 5 offense despite our right side being trash.
Correct.
I mean, and maybe trash is not the best term for it, but it had problems.
Well, okay. So let's think of it this way. Okay. What gets you so excited to me anyway, when I'm watching Herbert, is when he's breaking out because coverage broke on his right side and he's now running out to the right to evade. And then that's always when that crazy deep throw happens across, his body. Like, I will say that if there's any positives, I think Herbert has developed that in his game because he's always scared of the right side breaking. So he's looping around, come to the right. And it works every time. So Herbert managed to use that to his advantage. So I don't know. Anytime I see Herbert break into the right, I'm like, oh, some big throw is about to happen right now.
That's true. Yep. Yeah. And Herbert's so smart, man. I'm so impressed with him in general. And Ben, yes, I agree. Coach needs to be more focused on people not getting hurt than anything. I agree with that 110%. We talked about that at the very beginning of the pod for sure.
Yeah.
Because look, bottom line, we want to be healthy week 1 as much as we can. Yeah. Obviously, we're not going to have JC Jackson, which is actually, we don't know that yet for sure. Right.
No, we don't know.
He might be back, but I would think he probably won't be, but we'll see what happens. So I think that's great. Maybe what we should do is one person I was thinking I wanted to talk a little bit about. I know nobody wants to talk about special teams, but J.K. Scott, guys, I am so impressed with him as a punter for us moving forward. And again, there's so many arguments that people talk about, like, well, wait a second. Why did we go for it on 4th down so often? We had a horrible special teams. I mean, we were like almost dead last in special teams last year.
Yeah.
But the hang time J.K. Scott gets off of his leg is spectacular. We will cover
like
punts.
5 seconds.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's
a little bit over 5 seconds each time, it feels like.
Yeah. He went to Bama. I mean, the guy he's got a leg. And so, so his numbers for today were 4 punts, 183 yards, guys. Let's do some statistics on that, by the way.
Yeah, there you go.
I think we only did 187 yards of offense, guys. Look at that. Yeah, didn't we only have 187 yards of offense total?
It was pretty bad.
187 yards. So he kicked the ball. Yeah, where's it at? Okay,
Jesus.
So
what
not
is
total
this,
net.
Counting sheet.
Yeah,
staring at it.
Oh yeah, this is the official NFL game book. So
exactly, yeah. So 239 yards. So that was what, around 50 yards less. Oh, that's horrible math. Right?
Total net yards here 239. So that includes the special teams yardage there. Net yards passing 175, rushing plays net yards rushing 64.
So look at the passing yards, 175 yards. He has more than that in punting, 183 yards.
Yeah.
And two within the 20, guys. Look, I know special teams is not a sexy conversation, but it can change the game and it flips the field, right? A game of inches, that's huge. So I guess my question to you guys is, are we going to go for it less on 4th down now that we have someone like a J.K. Scott? I think the answer is yes. I definitely think we'll go for it less on our own side of the ball, right? On our own 20, our own 30, our own 40, especially with the defense we stacked up. But what do you guys think as far as special teams? Are we going to go for it less moving forward? And then what do you think about J.K. Scott in general being a weapon for the Chargers this year?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely feel like that was a huge reason why we didn't punt so much last year. Bolt up, don't punt. Remember that.
Bolt up, go punt. Yeah, that's right. That's right. We still need to do that shirt, man. What's going on with that shirt?
Hey, man. I probably have some time tomorrow to do it. So, or Sunday. Hey, man, I just got off the boat. Hey, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, man, like I said, no,
I love it. I love it. I
yeah,
love it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love it.
So, well, the truth is, you and James and me both all gotta agree on a design for that shirt, though.
Yeah,
First
that
of
is
all,
true. That
yeah,
is true. We really do gotta agree on
yeah,
that.
yeah,
We keep going back and forth on that quite a
yeah.
bit.
We keep
But
going back and forth on that. So,
yeah,
but
but
yeah, but to the point, yeah, I feel like J.K. Scott is 100% an improvement to Tai Long,
big
because
time.
he was taking way too long to punt that ball, and so but then also, like, we also knew that our defense wasn't that good to be able to
Mhm.
believe in it and to stop them if they got the possession of the ball again too. So I think that was a bigger factor rather than just the punting distance situation.
Yeah,
Correct. Correct.
that's a great point. There's two main factors that I think about when he's deciding to go forward and fourth. Right. Obviously, everybody in national media wants to talk about, oh, he's a stats guy. He's a stats guy. That's why he's making these decisions. But over and over and over again, Staley's always said the biggest reason why I'm going for on fourth down is because I'm trying to change the culture.
Yep.
I'm trying to say if we're going to lose under our own terms. And so I think he has successfully changed the culture in that regard. And a
Yep.
great example of that is the fourth quarter, fourth down prowess of Herbert and that offense during that last Raiders game. Watching him convert fourth down after fourth down, it shows that there was something to that strategy. There
Yep.
was something to it, and it made a difference in their confidence. Now, I'm hoping going into this new season that in combination with JK, in combination with an improved defense, that we are going to see not more conservative play calling, but maybe more pragmatic play calling, maybe more, okay, let's make a calculated decision to say, okay, you know what? I do actually trust my offense, sure, but now I trust my defense to be able to
Yeah.
hold that stop and make that
That's
stop.
exactly right. Yep.
Now, I don't want to see personally, I don't want to see us go for it and fourth down on our own 19-yard line. I don't want to see that. It's
No,
just,
no more,
Yep.
no more of that. No.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I remember my jaw dropping like, whoa, like
Yeah. We're going
Staley
for it.
plays the way I play in Madden. I'm not very good at Madden,
Yeah.
but he plays the way I play.
Tecmo Bowl.
Even
Yeah.
I would be like, okay, fine, I'll kick it or punch it like
Yeah.
our own 19, But hey, he has changed the culture. He has injected a level of confidence. Quite frankly, if I can say so, a little bit of FU mentality
Yep.
into the offense. And I love, love, love what Staley also said. Because let's think about it. Staley comes from a defensive mindset. And he
100%.
himself has said, as a defensive coordinator, when I was a defensive coordinator, the last thing I wanted was for another team to go for it on fourth down. So he
Yep.
literally reversed that logic, flipped it onto the offensive side, say, you know what? If I'm the Raiders defense, do I want Herbert going for it on fourth down? No, I do not. It's going to
Yep.
scare the living daylights out of me. And I will add one more point to this as to why I love the logic that Staley has said. And I don't know if other people have really talked to it, but it's something that just kind of popped up in my head. Was that when I'll try to articulate this as best I can. When uh, most teams go for it in fourth down, and I'm going to think when I think back in history of Philip Rivers, actually, when Philip Rivers looked like he was about to go for it in fourth down, what drove me insane, and I love Rivers, by the way, what drove me insane was every single time he would run up to the line, hut, 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 hut,
Yeah.
try to draw them off sides, and they would never fall for it.
Never.
Because we never went for it.
Exactly right.
Guess what? This season, they will fall for it. And guess what? Herbert has been working on his audibles.
Yes.
What that tells me is
Yep.
they are going to pretend like they're going to go for it on fourth down a little more often than they have in the past. And I think they're using their history now as a scare tactic, saying, "Hey, F you defense, we are going to go for it." And then when they don't, you're getting them to jump off sides. So I
Yeah.
don't know if people have been really talking about it, but all of a sudden, whether it's an intentional strategy by Staley or not, I would be thinking if I were playing against Staley, oh crap, this guy's going to go for it. And
Yeah.
when he doesn't, and Herbert throws out a new audible, a new inflection on his voice, all of a sudden, we might be getting teams jumping off sides a lot more this season. That's what I hope.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and they're also practicing silent count a little more as well too. They're doing a lot of different things. I think we're going to see a very different offense. And guys, it's interesting to see. Again, going back to how we even started this podcast, very clearly we saw vanilla offense and vanilla defense. Okay, I understand we're frustrated. We're 0-3 in the preseason, but to your point though, Boltad, is that we are going to be a different team come week 1. We're going to see some very different looks. I mean, dude, we didn't even see our stud tight end out there. Everett wasn't even out there today, right? No. So I was expecting him to play, right? So clearly, he's got other things planned for him. So we're going to see a different offense. Now, I want to bring up one thought. How good?
Before you move on though, I do want to kind of talk a little bit about what Boltad said about the hikes and rivers and stuff like that. Number one, the first statistic that I think we have to mention though, comparing Rivers to Herbert though, is how many times Rivers actually ran the ball. And we can count them in all his 17 years with the Chargers on one hand. I believe it was only 5 times, even if it was just 1 yard or whatever like that, And I think in one game alone, Herbert already beat that.
Against the Steelers.
yeah, because he was in. He was in. Yeah. But another thing I wanted to mention too is one of the best things that came out of Tyrod Taylor being with the team when we drafted Justin Herbert is that he learned because Tyrod Taylor is a very methodical, no mistakes type of quarterback, and and actually that was a good thing about the coach was telling him, just listen to him, count, listen to him. It's very methodical. Ready, set, hut. Very monotone, the whole time, So the other team does not know when he's actually going to hike the ball, and they can't jump the ball on him at all, And I think Herbert kind of started to adapt that, and so that was something that he learned from Tyrod Taylor, and I think it's still something he's using today.
You know what? Yeah. That is a great point, Kyle, because I remember watching on the All-In season, and they had talked about that. That was a conversation. They're telling Justin, saying, "Hey, Justin, you got to work on your voice inflection, making sure that's even." That's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was my thought.
We're going to see a lot about that. So let's maybe wrap up most of this. Well, let's maybe wrap up this last thought here, right? So I have 2 thoughts, and this might be a good little ending segue. How good or how highly ranked does our defense need to be, and how highly ranked does our special teams need to be this year for us to obviously make the playoffs and go deep into the playoffs? Are we talking top 10, top 5?
Deep in the playoffs? Super Bowl, come on.
Super Bowl. I mean, of course, that's the whole plan.
Playoffs.
You want to talk about playoffs? We're talking about Super Bowl.
My prediction is if we're 10-10, so again, we're going to be top 5 again in offense for sure. We got Herbert, we got all the weapons, we're going to be fine. But if we're top 10 defense and a top 10 special teams, we will go deep and we'll have at least a very solid Super Bowl run. That's my prediction. So what do you guys think? What ranking wise we need to be at?
I will say special teams, we got to be mid-tier. We can't be trash. If we were top 10, holy smokes, great. But and I know the preseason is a tough indicator, but based off what I saw in the preseason, if we could be mid-tier, I would be in the middle above. That's enough for us. I don't need another number 1 overall offense, number 1 overall defense, and historically bad special teams. I don't need to see that again. So, if we could be mid-tier, but that being said, as long as we have a defense that is top 15, top 10. Now, I am optimistic. Of course, every year I think our defense is going to be the number one overall. But the reality is we had the incorrect personnel for run stopping last year in this scheme, and but we made huge strides with that. So I think if we are going to get deep in the playoffs, aka Super Bowl, we are going to need a 100% a top 10 defense without question. They always say defense wins championships. Yep. Is that true? Well, a top 10 defense, yes, for sure. And then to go along with our top offense, but as far as that, the special teams, I mean, we got to be at least mid-tier. The thing people say about special teams is a really good special teams doesn't necessarily win you games, but a really bad special teams will lose you games. And we know that.
Yeah. So I would say our future's looking bright on defense.
There you go. Nice shade.
So I mean, I feel like we definitely are going to flip the script here. So I would say if we get to top 5 on our defense, then for sure Staley's going to win Coach of the Year because of that. Because of flipping this and getting Khalil Mack, getting J.C. Jackson, getting Austin Johnson, Sebastian Joseph today, all these different players on the defense, and basically just whitewashing, as for lack of a better term, the defense, and just making it new and solidifying Derwin James on an extended contract, whatever. And if we're on the top 5 for the defense, then yes, he's going to win Coach of the Year. But if we're a top 10 defense, we're making the Super Bowl anyways at that point. So we don't have to be top 5 in order to get to the Super Bowl. If we get top 10, we're there. So, and then when it comes to the special teams, it's the same situation. Obviously, as we saw from week 2 against the Cowboys.
Ooh. Hey, don't bring that up.
We got some work to do, boys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, let's get in this locker room and let's make some shit happen. You know what I'm saying? Because that was a pitiful display of what our special teams can do this so far. But we have if we can make that not happen again, then we'll probably be mid-tier for sure. But if we go to top 10, I mean, man, I'll be doing jumping jacks down my hallway every single morning if we're in top 10 on the special teams. I mean, special teams is not something to write home to mama for, but I mean, I'd be excited if we actually have a reliable special teams unit to be able to kick those field goals, because those 3 points was the difference of the game for the Raiders. If we had made that one field goal earlier on in the game, the overtime situation wouldn't have even happened at all.
Yeah.
So
for sure,
that's 3 points. You got to take them damn points, man. I mean, I'm sorry. I know it's kind of like rudimentary, kind of simple game or whatever kind of plan, but it's Belichick ball. And guess what? That mofo's got 7 championships because he gets them points. That's the number one stat in the game. Points. Get
your whole
points.
demeanor changed once you put on your glasses. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. Well, no, but I think that's a good segue for ending the video. But I do think also, though, look, I think I'm excited to see what happens week 1, right? I think bottom line, as soon as week 1, actually, I think we will have a pretty good understanding as soon as we see the 53-man roster for sure. That will tell us exactly how we're going to play. But boy, a lot of question marks, guys. I mean, I'm still left with question marks, scratching my head. Who is going to do what? What are we going to do? And how are we going to really play week 1? I mean, I think they're keeping the cards close to the vest, as the saying goes. But I'm excited to see what happens week 1. So,
yeah, me too.
I'm excited. I think Dude, I think Khalil Mack, I think he's hungry. He's ready to go. I think Joey Bosa on the other side is going to be amazing. I think our run stopping will be way better. We haven't seen them. Guys, we have not seen our real starters, right? And so we could be angry about these rookies, but again, guys, remember they're rookies. They are rookies, and they're going to make mistakes. We are witnessing their mistakes, but luckily for us, we're not going to see them week one. They're going to be riding the bench and learning. So that's kind of my final thoughts. What are your final thoughts there, Bolt Dad? And then we'll go to Kyle, and then we'll wrap up.
Well, I am genuinely looking forward to this season. The preseason, I didn't have a lot of high expectations going into it. I was looking for a couple key players, hoping that they would really make a difference for us, especially in key positions of need. I feel like we had the two biggest stars pop out for us as Bandy and Rumpf. To me, those are the two that really stood out to me, along with a few others, but those are the ones that got me probably the most excited. So beyond that, overall, this whole off season has just been a whirlwind. It felt like the NFL season never really truly ended, and we're just getting ready to kick off this new season. So super duper excited. And by the way, guys, I know we're closing out here soon. I just wanted to also say shout out to you guys for inviting me on. Really appreciate it. This has been awesome.
Yeah. It's fun talking like this, right? And again, chatting with these folks. I mean, everyone that's on here, right? I mean, this is why we even did this channel, guys. We want to have a discussion. Let's have a conversation and engage with people and just think through the Chargers and, kind of a brain trust, right? That's just what are your thoughts? And I love it. So really, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Really, absolutely. You always have a spot with us. We'll keep you informed. Hopefully you come back soon.
Yeah. We'll gladly try and get you in the loop a lot. And like I said, actually, the truth is, I've been talking to you for a little bit about all this behind the scenes, trying to get you on and stuff like that. And we've been trying to make this happen, and I'm glad it finally happened because, like just to let everyone else know is that obviously since I'm actually at the games a lot, I won't be able to join the post-game shows for the most part. So if that's the case, this is a little trial run for Bolt Dad here, and I think he actually knocked it out of the park, so he can 100% fill in for my spot. And while I'm trying to get in there, I'll be in the comments, whatever. But that'll be about it.
This was an interview? I had no idea.
No. What was this conversation? Kyle likes to just spitball, Bolt Dad. He just likes to spitball all the time.
I'm the wild card, yo. I'm the wild card.
He is the wild card. You got to rein him in occasionally. He needs a leash. We need to put a leash on him or something.
Oh no, man. Hey, I am control of this one right now. I can do what I want. Anyways,
I love it.
But we would gladly have you join us and collaborate with us a lot more and just share your thoughts with us a little bit more as much as you want. And we'll just keep you in mind and stuff like that. So we had before we wrap up. I just do want to say too, like, I mean, I'm so happy that you actually were able to join us tonight. Like, this was an absolute blast. Like, I really loved having you here for sure.
100%.
Because it's always good to have more people, and of course, if you have any people that you'd like to bring on too, like feel free. In fact, if you know anybody that are fans of the opposing teams, we really want to get them on here as well, because we want to talk about them. We want to talk smack to each other. We want to tell them that their team's trash. They can tell us our team's trash. It's fun. Let's have a good time. Let's just get into it. But yeah. Well, before we close out, though, should we answer a few questions? Whatever. There's a couple more that kind of rolled in the last minute here. So, HH4, he just straight up said, like, we can just kind of lightning round these things real quick, though. But yeah, he just says, hey, are we ready for week one? And we got 2 weeks away from there, and I think we are. I mean, honestly, with that, we 1,000% are. Like, I mean, the truth is that our starters didn't play. But they will be playing week one. And I think if anyone's not going to be ready, the Raiders ain't going to be ready for us because they don't know nothing about what our team's going to be like with our full team. So
yeah, and I think we're going to ramp up our practices as well too. I think there's
Mhm.
going to be a lot more violent practices. Going forward, it's game time. Playtime is over. We now have a 53-man roster, and it's going to be playtime. How are we going to beat the Raiders week 1, right? So no more vanilla defense, no more vanilla offense. Let's focus. What's the real game plan moving forward? They already have that set up and having conversations about it, but it's going to be a much more focused plan moving forward.
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. Then we got another question here. Ryan Sutter. Do you guys think it's worth us to go out and sign available players who are really good at special teams coverage in college or in the pros, even if they aren't good at individual positions? Well, yeah, 100%. I mean, because truth is, like, there are specific positions in special teams that need to be filled as well. There's the gunner and the jammer, and those positions could be very valuable. That nobody ever really talks about those positions, you know.
Nope.
It's always long snappers, it's kickers and punters and stuff like that, you know. But it's a whole nother technique between those gunner jammer situations and stuff. And so I think 100% if there are players out there that like are known to be good gunners or good jammers, absolutely we should get those guys. You know,
well, they're looking for it. So
yeah, and I'll add one last caveat on that is that bottom line, Brandon Staley said it best. The whole NFL is watching, and you're here to prove to us that you deserve to be in the NFL. We're going to cut people that we believe are not able to play in the NFL. And other teams are going to be doing that as well too. So then we can scoop them up. That's one thing I really do love about the NFL is you cannot hoard players and you have to spread talent around, which I think is pretty cool. So yeah, I promise you we're looking at other people's tape and we're trying to make decisions on, our wish list moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that conversation right there. I'll show you how hungry.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
You want to know how hungry I am? I'll show you. Appreciate it. That's right.
100%. It's going to be amazing.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps us up. I think we'll do a little bit of talk and discussion about the 53-man team over the weekend, and probably put some content out about that, like who we think might be land on the team, who like some surprising things. But for the most part, though, excited for the season, guys.
Let's
move forward to week 1 against the Raiders on September 11th. It's going to be an amazing game. I'm going to be there, just so you know. And I did, my tickets never sold for $1,500, so thankfully for that. So that's good to know. I was trying to fish out there for some stupid Raiders fan to try and buy my tickets for $1,500, but I'm sure it was never going to happen.
Sure,
that
but
we gotta keep having that conversation, by the way, with people to make sure that they don't sell their tickets to opposing fans.
Absolutely.
I put out a stupid skit a little while back.
Saw that.
Yeah. Oh, have you? And I just, I hope that picks up because people need to now more than ever. Once we're really getting into the season here, we need our fans in that stadium.
Yeah, we need our fans there for sure. Yep.
Absolutely. And and I don't know if you joined any of the Facebook groups, Bolt Dad, but there's one called the Charger Bolt Family, and they always I interviewed him one time before too, and he was saying, yeah, back in the 70s, you couldn't get it to a seat in the Murph, because all Chargers fans took over that stadium. And
I miss Jack Murphy Stadium, man. I miss that.
Yep.
Stadium.
That stadium was amazing.
It was
so
so
many
good.
times. Yep.
But yeah, it was a really good time, and those times are coming back, and I think really Justin Herbert is actually bringing that back, because we have a squad around him that is exciting to watch, and that's what we need to have here in LA.
Yep,
so
100%.
Super stoked on that. That's right, Carlos. Family, trust, respect all day, every day. You know what? Week 1, it's gonna be lit, fam. I'm gonna be up there in Thunder Alley having a good time. I'm probably gonna be hanging around the Los Rayos tent a little bit. And I actually got a little something special planned for week 1. So if you're out there, catch me at the right time, and you might be able to get on a video with me because
you might be able to get on a yacht with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, yes, exactly.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, don't worry about that, man. Hey, I got you. I got you guys. I share. I share kindly. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But again, thanks you. It was a well, to say the least, it was an interesting preseason. These 3 weeks. We learned a lot, but we hope to see you the next time. We'll keep talking. We'll do these weekly live chats, and we'll see you guys tomorrow if you'd like to join us. And we'll talk about our fantasy team, and we'll have a little discussion about that and how much of a disaster it might be for a 16-man league. So
absolutely good.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll
see you guys in the next one.
I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bolt Bros. Let's go.
Let's get it.